Hello everyone, I hope you're all really well. I just wanted to record a little episode just to explain a few changes with the podcast for anybody that doesn't follow our social media and may be kind of unaware of what is happening or maybe kind of confused about the changes in intro or anything like that. It's been a really weird couple of weeks and I was kind of unsure about whether to put something on the podcast, but it felt weird that stuff had been said on social media and not on the podcast, which the whole point of this is the podcast. So it felt weird to not have something on here to explain things. It's been quite a complicated, confusing time, but what was explained on Instagram is that Lydia has now stepped down from the podcast. She has now moved on to BookTube, and I wanted to kind of take the time to figure out what I wanted to do with the podcast, and I needed to take a couple of weeks to kind of think that through. So the podcast is staying a pair of bookends. We only changed the branding I think about a year ago. It feels silly to kind of change that now. So I will be staying with the podcast moving forward. I want to keep doing this. I've got loads of exciting interviews booked in, lots of great things coming up, and I love this podcast. I've put so much work into this and I'm really excited for what's to come, and I hope that you'll stay on this journey with me. As for the Patreon, this is the thing that has been where most of the thinking has had to come from, because it's very difficult to record an episode for patrons when I need somebody else to talk to and I need to make money for the podcast, and especially when there's outgoings and there's kind of not enough money being made to pay an author to come on to chat to me yet. So this is like a little announcement. My wonderful friend of the pod, who has done a few episodes now and you will have heard her, she's an incredible author, she's a brilliant friend. She has very kindly offered her services to come on and record a Patreon episode a month with me, and that is Emma Hines. I hope that you'll all show Emma lots of love, because she's done this out of the kindness of her heart, and I'm really excited for all the things that are to come. So if you want to support us via Patreon, you can do so via patreon.com/a pair of bookends, and you can listen to an episode a month with me and Emma. Our first episode that we'll be doing is an adaptation episode. I've been wanting to do one of these for so long, and I'm really excited that we are going to be doing an episode on The Idea of You. So if you want to listen to that when that comes out, please go and join Patreon. You can do that for less than £3, and it supports the podcast and supports me, and I really, really appreciate it. And I'm so grateful to the patrons that have stayed with me throughout this time and have been so lovely and understanding about the situation. So thank you. I cannot explain how much I appreciate that. And I hope that more of you will consider joining. And apart from that, the podcast is me moving forward. So it'll be me and Emma over on Patreon, and on the podcast, it'll be me interviewing lots of wonderful guests. Thank you for bearing with while I figured out what I was going to do, and I will see you this week. We have the final episode with Lydia is coming out. It was an episode that was recorded last month, and it is with the wonderful Kirsty Capes. So that is Lydia's final episode, and yeah, I hope that you enjoyed. It's a great episode. Kirsty was brilliant. This has been a lot of rambling. Thanks so much for listening. Goodbye.